Random Thoughts. In this video, I officially introduce the book, The Mad Mullah. This is a book that was written by one Douglas James Jardine, who was the colonial administrator of Somaliland between 1916 and 1921. And in this book, he tells the story of one Mohamed Abdulle Hassan, and this is the leader of what came to be known as the Dervish War, which happened between 1900 to 1920. And this is a sort of biography. That's how it is classified. This book was published in 1920s. Now, James Jardine, or Douglas James Jardine, was what was known as the colonial administrator. And this is an office, was like the second office in Somaliland, then the British Somaliland. And while he served in that office, there was somebody else who served in an office that was higher than his, and his name was one Geoffrey Francis Acker. Now, Geoffrey Francis Acker, or Archer, was the commissioner from 1914 to 1919, and he became the governor of Somaliland from 1919 to 1922, and he was, of course, the boss of Jardine. Now, Jardine, in fact, did dedicate the book, The Mad Mullah, to Acker. Jardine was born, some sources say he was born in around 1888, and he died in December 1946. And before, his career was bigger than just serving in Somaliland. Of course, he became the colonial administrator in Somaliland, but he also served as the governor of North Borneo, that's in Asia, and he also became the governor of Sierra Leone and the Leeward Islands. So he did serve in those offices. He did become a governor, basically, at some point. And he also did become Secretary of Administration, of course, I've said in Somaliland, but he was also the Chief Secretary to Government in Tanganyika. And I think this is after the Germans had been pushed out of Tanganyika. And then he went there and he served in that office. And he also served as sort of an ambassador or commissioner or high commissioner to Geneva, Switzerland. So he did have a long career serving as a British colonial officer and also serving as sort of a diplomat. Yeah, so this is the guy who wrote this book, The Mad Mullah. And as I've said, this book is a sort of a biography of Mohamed Abdulle Hassan. And so we are going to read and see what he says about Mohamed Abdulle Hassan, and in particular about the Dervish wars that went on between 1900 and 1920s. But I need to make a point that I've always made when talking about these old British documents, colonial documents, and that is that they were written in an era that there were different perspectives on, especially on race and people. And we also have to bear in mind that Jardine was a British colonial officer. So his views on Mohamed Abdulle Hassan must be biased. There's a way he saw him. He must have seen him as somebody who was a troublemaker, somebody who was destroying something that was good because he was a British, and the British, of course, thought that by colonizing Africa, they were doing something good. Of course, they had to believe that. And so we have to bear in mind that how he's going to portray Mohamed Abdulle Hassan has to be from that perspective. So we have to have that backdrop. But as I always say, it's important for us to read these documents, because if we don't, we will never come to understand how colonization happened and how things went the way they went. If you are going to hide behind ignorance that, oh, we shouldn't read those documents because they are by British people, it's better you understand the person you are going up against. You need to know everything about them. That's like wisdom that most people seem to throw away by saying we shouldn't read those documents. If you have somebody you are going up against, it doesn't matter whether it's a football match, whether it's a boxing match, whether it's an actual war. It does not matter, as long as you are going to have somebody as your opponent or even an enemy for that matter. It is in your best interest to know everything about them, including how they think and how they arrive at certain conclusions. It is in your best interest. And so it disturbs me when I see many people tell me, oh, I don't think it's right for us to read this document. And I'm wondering, why are you saying that? Don't you think it's the right thing for us to understand the logic behind colonization and the biases and the thinking, the processes and everything about it, so that we are able to prevent maybe not colonization, but something similar. And of course, colonization did not end. Some people think, oh, it ended. It continues in other forms, of course, because there is always need in humans to control others. There is always that need, because especially because of the need to accumulate and to access resources. So those things are going to be always there. So it's very important for us to read these documents, even when we know that they were written with biases and interest in mind and things like that. When we understand that, then we go ahead and consume that content with an open eye. Yeah, so we are going to read The Mad Mullah by this guy, Jardine, and we are going to see how he saw Mohamed Abdulle Hassan and the Dervish war, because this was the second in command in Somaliland. So we must be interested to know his thought process, how he saw things, and how the decisions, or how decisions were made, especially regarding the Dervish wars, and what were they thinking as a colonial power. So that's what we are going to do. That's the book we are going to read. It's relatively a long book. We are going to get a few videos out of it, but as I've told you with other books, you are better off getting the book yourself and reading it yourself, because the videos I'm going to create are just snapshots that I'm going to take from bits that I think are interesting. But you know, what I think is interesting, it's not necessarily what you'll find to be interesting. So you are better off getting the book and read the book by yourself, and then you can watch my videos, and then we can share ideas in the comment section. Those are my random thoughts.